so we got to the first...
I think we're on me now, right?
Oh yeah, let's maybe just first ask, did anybody have ideas about faces at all? Or characters they want their character to know?
No, I have no clue.
Nothing.
I probably know somebody that got me across the ocean. That's probably, not an easy feat to accomplish. Getting shipped from Europe to America. So I probably know that person that got me shipped.
Alright. Just wanted to ask.
I feel like I might know the housewife as, like, one of those extended family members who's just like...
We'll worry about that later.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's...
Player-on-player relationships is a major part of characterdom.
No, not Kelsey's character, the White Corp vampire.
Okay.
Like, housewife was not the word to describe that, then.
Yeah.
No, housewife is her name. Housewife is listed as her name on the Faces page.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of another name, and so...
Janice is not a housewife. She may be a soccer mom, but she is not a housewife.
She's also not a vampire.
First of all, she's not married. Second of all, actually, I decided she's never been married.
Okay. It wasn't a real marriage.
Like, no, she was, like, I figured, like, I was thinking about it, like, during the break. I figured that Durian, as a fae, would not want to enter into a marriage contract. And I figured that they never got married, but they were together for, like, 2 years. They lived together. He, like, footed the bill for her apothecary to get it opened up in San Francisco. Stuff like that. Like, but they were not legally married.
Makes sense.
Because, I mean, yeah, being married for a fae would mean, like, together
something very different to a mortal.
One of the short stories touches on it. It's kind of
always be faithful. Oh, yeah, no, that's a lot of rules.
Yeah. Apparently, it would give the fairy complete control, basically, over
so it's
the immortal who marries them.
Like, okay.
And I think that...
Wouldn't it depend on the vows that were said?
Yeah.
Not really. Not according to what I read in the story. So,
interesting.
I would assume that they were worried because you had magical power, you might be able to turn it around on them.
Fair, yeah.
Or maybe they just love you so much they can't bear the thought of taking away your humanity.
Yeah, having that much control over you.
These are questions to explore.
Yeah, I'd like to explore those. I don't want them decided right now. I like them being kind of open, just like whatever it was that took him away in the middle of the night 5 years ago, it was enough to make him want to take a memento, but the reason why is still a mystery. Like, what happened?
Like, he could just want, because, like, magic and stuff. Like, he could use that. Or he could have just missed you.
Exactly. It could be so that he'd have a piece of power, and it could be as a memento, and it could be both. And yeah. So another face, I think that I'm just writing, like, what was my first adventure. I'm, like, coming up with ideas for that right now. So I think that Janice has a current lover she's been with for, like, about a year. Her name's Eileen.
Okay.
And this is, like, the first serious relationship that she's had since she was with Durin. Like, she had, like, a string of just, like, you know, one-night stands, terrible affairs, abusive partners, and people she did not want to take home to the kids. And then she found Eileen, and they've been together for about a year. Like, Eileen is totally fine with having taking care of the kids and whatever, but, like, I have a feeling like she's somehow connected to a supernatural power of some sort.
I assume your character has checked to make sure she's not also a fairy?
Yes. She's definitely not a fairy, but she could be a changeling herself. Okay. Or something else, if you guys want to throw out suggestions.
I mean, obvious one, she could easily be a vampire of either kind.
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, that would be an interesting just thing for you to deal with.
I assume
People like
if
narcotic saliva and shit.
I assume if it's like a healthy relationship, it would not be a vampire. But
I mean, like
that's
maybe
like
it's
stereotyping.
Maybe
but
she thinks it's a healthy relationship,
yeah,
but
that's
it's
kind of also
not.
like
I mean, also
actually
they
a
like
healthy relationship.
the vampire could also like think of it as healthy.
Yeah.
Is Eileen a demon, maybe?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Is she might be human, but like maybe she's also a minor power.
Okay.
Or possibly she's I mean, hell, she could be like a sorcerer and like on the run from the right council and more powerful than I am.
And you just don't have you haven't used the sight on her or anything.
Well, I don't really have
tell
the
you
sight.
what they are. Exactly.
Oh, I thought you took improved sight.
So what I took is a mortal stunt that gives me an ability to use time, effort, and so forth. Like it would give me not even
I see.
Inkling of the sight, but just an ability to have like a more like magic tingling sense.
Cool. Nice. Okay, cool.
But so yeah, I was thinking that my first adventure would be somehow discovering what Eileen is that is not normal 100% vanilla human.
Is the first adventure something you've already done or want to do?
It's something you've already done. So
okay.
Like the next step once everybody's gone through, and I guess I'm stepping ahead because someone still hasn't finished their parts yet. But we can come back. We can circle around back to this to come up with my first adventure, and maybe I'll set it up that this is when I found out she was something other than vanilla human, and then your guys' parts in it can explain how we found out and what she was.
Okay. I still haven't done the thing before that.
Yeah, I'll think about that.
Yes, so let's do that.
So who are we doing?
Cynthia.
So I don't necessarily know. So the visions are obviously a big deal, as is like time magic, because she, especially when she first arrived, doesn't know that her magic is rare. She doesn't know that or at first she doesn't know that there are a bunch of other witches and mages or what have you. She's terrified. And somehow she ends up in San Francisco from fucking Salem, or 21st century.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily know.
Where did you end up when you went forward in time?
I'm thinking
in modern Salem?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I didn't teleport anywhere. I just went forward in time.
So Salem is on the East Coast.
Yeah. So I went across the country in
so Massachusetts,
time.
Right?
Yeah, I think so. I could be wrong.
So, you know how the Earth rotates and moves and stuff? Maybe it's just you just randomly landed in San Francisco because that's where the Earth was at the time, and your location was completely still in time.
It's better not to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, that fucks up a lot of shit.
Yeah.
As a physicist, I'll point out that inertially here we are at rest. So even though we're rotating, so you should keep your same position.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I mean, if anything,
fine.
If you moved anywhere, you would move to the center of the Earth, which we don't want anyone to do.
Please don't make me move to the center of the Earth.
No, you're not going to live in the center of the Earth.
No, that's not true. Come on, think about it logically. She would be lost in the middle of space, as the Earth's rotation and spiral of the Milky Way has moved beyond in the last 100-something years.
Well, the point depends on if the gravitational force will move her or not while she's traveling through time.
This is like a combination of like things that don't exist, trying to pair it with physics. I'm not sure how they like go together.
Right.
Come on now. This is not how magical bat wings work in real life, everybody.
Nope.
Magical
I have a
bat
degree in magical bat wings, so I should know.
Nice.
Okay, so I actually think that Cassandra's tears led her to San Francisco.
Ooh.
That would be my initial impression. Like, she
Did you
had
know
a vision.
That the fairies would get wrecked?
I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily know, like, the dream in and of itself yet, or, like, the vision. She definitely saw, like, I don't know. But some vision led her to San Francisco. Or, like, what she thinks is San Francisco. Like, asking around,
Right.
it made sense.
Would she see things symbolically with magical symbols and the ground talking to her? Or would her mind put everything in the context of like pilgrims and people and nothing magical at all? Like would you see like this family going through all these troubles and like understand that it actually means that it's entirely symbolic? Or would you see really abstract symbols?
I feel like it'd be a bit of both.
Okay.
Like, it's all very vague, and it's like, it's a jumble between, like, her past and the present, and, like, it's things that she has to piece together in her head that doesn't make any sense when she actually talks about it, because it's such a combination of things that only she's experienced.
Okay.
It's like, it's a bunch of like the 17th century references, and then there's stuff from the like present day, and then there's just a bunch of magical symbolism that she barely understands or is starting to, but doesn't actually grasp yet.
So you want the Cassandra's tears to shake you?
And a bit, yeah. And the time is just sort of a means to that, where it's sort of like she's kind of her seeing so much into the future has like so often, because like that's a thing that happens to her constantly, essentially. It has just sort of given her an innate understanding of how time kind of flows, so she just innately is able to just like mold it if she focuses.
Okay. I feel like okay, so your aspects already are troubled seer from middle age, haunted by the past and future, seeking a real home, and now do you feel like you can resist what you see?
No, that's not a thing she can control. It's just kind of like she could maybe like force herself to see something if she tried, but it's all very like sudden, and it happens, and she sees whatever ends up being shown to her, and then she tries to make sense of it.
How about at the mercy of fate?
Yeah,
like that. That's good.
I'm good with that.
Or maybe like helpless behind the hand of fate, or something like that.
Yeah.
This will work for now, I think. I feel like this is kind of an overlap with your high concept and trouble.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But this is okay, because we can change aspects in play. So when you are able to, define your character more. Like, I feel like what's going to happen is that your first adventure is going to be traveling across the country.
Yeah.
It should be. Let's do something else for that, okay? try and think of an adventure you had once you got. How did you get involved in events
with
in,
like the vampires and shit.
When you got to San Fran.
Okay, like, I'll think about it.
You see for the first time.
Okay.
That there's a supernatural world besides your own powers. Okay.
Okay.
Who wants to go next?
I guess I will. Okay, so for my rising conflict, I was kind of thinking of something along the lines of like, society scares me, or like civilization, maybe. Society or civilization, because I came from like a small cult, and I know nothing of the modern world, and I kind of spent that next year traveling from here to San Francisco, from like Germany to San Francisco, and discovering the modern world wasn't a pleasant experience, but it was more, I could bear it more than I could being in the cult. So it's kind of like,
so it's something like
working against isolation. The grass is always greener kind of thing, sort of.
Like the grass is not always greener, but it is real.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Type of thing.
Okay.
So that's why I was kind of going with society scares me, kind of. Or something along those lines for like a rising conflict.
I guess. Maybe something a little bit more serious. I need to get away from the grass metaphor because it's making me think silly things. So this is your city.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a place that's mine, and just like, I'm like the angry homeless guy under the bridge. This is my spot. Go away.
It's not perfect, but it's my home. Does that sound good?
Yeah. That's about it.
Okay. Let's see who else is there.
So does that? So did Kelsa go already, or
Kelsa has been a step ahead of us this whole time.
Yeah, I did, because like my background aspect, like he asked me a couple of questions that like kind of led me into my rising conflict.
Okay.
And so what I took for that was the whole story about her lover, the fairy who's the father of her children, and the aspect is lover's lock, green hair, where she's got a single lock of green hair from behind her right ear that grows green naturally.
Okay. So I guess that leaves just me for rising conflict.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking sort of along the lines of when my character first got to college, he realized how big the world actually was. Like, he hadn't realized about that he could really become anything other than, like, say, a lawyer or something. And I wanted to do something along those lines where he was sort of, like, forced back onto that path. And I'm trying to come up with an aspect that's about that, but not just reinforcing my high aspect.
Right. So you were pushed back, like...
Yeah.
Did they destroy your social life? Did they embarrass you in front of all your friends? Or give you a reputation that was bad? Maybe they gave you a reputation of being like the school slut or something.
I don't know, like White Court can control emotions and stuff, right?
Right. Oh.
Yeah, but you don't do that because you don't even know that you are a White Court.
I think he can, actually. I think his character will be able to control emotions.
Just not right now.
I was saying that my insight emotion is a must for Virgin, and
right. He can actually do it as a Virgin.
I wasn't saying that my character would do it. I was saying that maybe like whenever I would try something outside of the path they decided for me, they would just like influence my emotions to make me negatively associate with it.
Okay. Let's take a step back and decide what kind of emotions your tribe of White Court vampires feed off of.
I was thinking despair, actually. Does that work? Or it's a negative emotion that they feed off of, right?
Any emotion, I think.
Would that? I think it would create an unhealthy and unattractive BDSM scene. Like, are people getting off on despair? Like,
yeah, that would be a little weird.
How about control?
No.
Or
Control?
Feeling of helplessness?
Like,
surrender?
Shame.
Shame?
Ooh.
Shame is good. Yeah, I like shame.
Okay.
Ooh.
So they made you feel ashamed.
Works into the whole BDSM thing too.
Kind of, but I mean,
shame isn't like. It's both like I don't mean it necessarily like a negative connotation because you can feel that like shame, but still like get off.
Some, you know, I totally get you. Like the idea of getting off to shame, like that's a legit thing.
Yeah, it's a legit thing. It isn't exactly healthy.
No,
but vampires shouldn't be actually good for you. Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
How does feeling shame all the time affect you, though? Like, I almost want to suggest that it made you find religion. Because you try and make sense of why you feel ashamed all the time.
Yeah, that sort of makes sense.
Did you try and make sense out of it, or did you just give into it?
Thanks, Dan. You're still the best.
I don't think my character tried to make sense of it.
Okay. So
much as he was just like, well, I guess I only have really one path I can go on.
Okay. Like, you feel like you as a character can't do anything but what you're told to do because you're not worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll screw up everything else. You'll screw up anything unless you have some support network to help you.
I can't really handle anything other than what I've been told to do.
No self-confidence. You got something more spicy than no self-confidence?
Maybe trapped by incompetence?
Sure, that's perfect. Okay. Alright, I think that's really good. Alright, so now we're going on to story aspects. What was your first adventure?
Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Kelsey because she's got it.
I've got a bunch lined up. Wow. So what I'm starting with is, like I said, I have the idea that her current lover, Eileen, is somehow not a normal vanilla human. She's mixed up with something. And basically, I'd like to use this story to kind of figure out what that is. And if somebody else wants to make that decision for me, I'm totally all for that.
What exactly do you want to know?
What was that?
What exactly do you want to know?
So, I want to know what her supernatural tie-in is, and whether or not that, like, ultimately, I feel like that they would still be together at the end of this, but whether or not that's still a good decision, maybe. But basically, after a string of failed relationships, finding Eileen was like a godsend. willing to look after kids and never questioning when a late night customer pulled Janice away in the middle of the they've been together for about a year now, longer than any other relationships besides Durin. But something is not as it seems. Eileen is not a vanilla mortal, and Janice finds herself wrapped up in an adventure that brought this to light after MMA's school play turns into a fistfight. Which rhymes, apparently.
Is Eileen an imaginary friend?
What?
Is she an imaginary
that would be
friend?
Awesome. That would be awesome.
That your children also imagine?
I mean,
No.
the kids see it, though. That's the problem, because they watch as the kids, which would be interesting. So it being a
purely mental construct that only your family can see and interact with?
Whoa, that would be really weird. But interesting.
You want something that other people can interact with? Because I would imagine, well, there's a fist fight, and why aren't you helping? I actually can't help.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
We could do something more standard.
Well, no, that's fine. I was just going to say, like, as the first adventure, though, this I figure comes to light, and maybe it's part of a bigger plot that caused the fist fight, or something that gets the other characters involved. So,
okay. How do you feel about Carl Jung?
Huh?
How do you feel about Carl Jung?
Carl Jung?
The psychologist.
I'm not very familiar enough to make an opinion.
Carl Jung said that our minds are made of archetypes, and these archetypes were like personified. So like your fears might become personified, or your needs might become personified. And that not only were these personifications part of your psyche, but there was the shared unconscious psyche of all humanity. And so we would all share the same archetypes. Some games like Mage, The Awakening, have really delved into making these archetypes actual characters and like gatekeepers of like feelings that would hurt us, or like keeping secrets from us that we are not ready to face. Or even like just keeping secrets from humanity that you're not ready to face. If you've read the Archive?
What was that?
Do you know who the Archive is?
Yes.
Maybe something like that, but without corporeal form.
Interesting. Okay.
Anyway, it's just an idea.
Well, who else is going to be involved in this story? Like, how are we going to connect them? Like, are we going to go like down the line? Like, Janice would be like the two people in her story would be Axel and Cynthia.
Is this one of those?
Yeah, that's what we're at right now.
Oh, it's a guest star. Okay. I thought there was 3 guest stars, but
there are.
It doesn't actually say guest star at the top. All right, so we need to pick.
Yeah, the way it works is each person writes their story, their first adventure that has gonna somehow involve 2 other people, and then there's guest starring is when what you put on your own character sheet for whatever you were involved in the other person's story.
Normally,
guest star redux.
What I'll do is we'll pick pairs. And you'll each tell a story. And then I'll have you pick an aspect that best defines your character in that story. So let's put this on the back burner. And let's get into pairs.
Okay.
First. So,
because the way it's written up in the book to do the stories is that each person has one story, and then each other person is involved in 2 in guest stars in 2 other stories.
Right.
So as a player, you're going to have the story that you're in with like your 2 neighbors that they're part of it, and then the story that your neighbor is in and the 2 neighbors of them, yourself and the other person that are part of it. and then the third one is that you're part of is your other neighbor's story. So
there's three guest stories and there's 3 other players, right?
No, there's 2 guest stories. There's your story and then 2 guest stories.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. All right, we can do it that way. Usually, I don't define.
I'm just saying
that's.
I'm going by how it is in the book, and that was just like
I was
assuming that was how it was going to work. If you want to do it differently, I'm 100% okay with that.
Okay. Well, first let's ask if anybody wants to be a part of the story.
I feel like it'd be interesting if I showed up, because like you said, you were like you lived somewhere and then moved and then came back, right? And then like you found you again, and then you might have moved again, type of thing.
Yeah, and then I moved again. So like I originally grew up in Davis, and then I moved down to Monterey to go to college, and then I came back for like a summer break, stayed with my folks. So and I feel then like got with him and moved to
being a seer of the future and a chronomancer. It'd be interesting if I showed up.
Well, this is after all of the moving around. This is like recently, like within the last year or so.
That's what I'm saying. Like this would be like while like after my thing, like however I got to San Francisco, it'd be after that. So I feel like it would kind of just be interesting to be like, this is how we know each other. I helped find out whatever the fuck she is via probably Cassandra's tears.
Okay.
Like I probably had a vision of also the fact that it's the fact that it's not a non-heterosexual romance, and I'm from the 1700s is interesting. I mean, like I'm also
are you going to inflict your Puritan ways on my lesbian relationship?
So fuck it, but I just think it's funny.
Okay.
So like she probably's like realized at this point, because she's been in this world for like 2 years, that's a thing now, and she's like adjusting, but it's new. So
it's still probably a little off-putting to you, like you don't know how to feel about it yet. I wouldn't
say off-putting. It's just like it's like alien. Different. Like exactly. Yeah, like, she doesn't have a negative opinion of it. It's just like you would be.
It's like really awkward to you. Awkward.
Yeah.
Feeling.
Yeah, well, then again, public displays of affection in general may be awkward to you.
Yeah. So so she probably had an image of you two in like 1700s wear, but like walking around town like holding hands and like acting like a normal family with like your kids following along, and it was like super weird. And like so somehow whatever, like there's probably some like symbology of whether she's a spirit. I could think of stuff for that, or a vampire, or whatever you want to go with. There was probably symbology of that like hidden in there somewhere, and she just like maybe thought you were in danger and just kind of sought you out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting.
So
because probably to you, same-sex relationships from that time period are like thought of as bad. Because if you knew about vampires then, you probably associate it with that.
But yeah, that type of stuff. Like there was something going on, and she was probably in danger. And I've been following my visions this entire time. Like my visions are probably what like led me. Like I probably knew that I was going to get into like some weird. Like I was probably having visions of like the 21st century before I went. Okay. So like I've been kind of following along in their footsteps in general. So I'm just gonna keep doing that.
You probably would have had visions of whatever caused this too.
Yeah. So, does that work for you?
Also? Yeah, definitely.
So, do you have any idea of what you want her to be so far?
I don't know. I'm still on the fence. Like, I still like the idea. I like all of the ideas. The concept of her, like the idea of her being like a concept that a manifest in human form that that only me and my family can see. Like, what? That's crazy.
So it was probably something like you two were walking around, and like she kept like fading in and out, and every time it would switch from like your perspective of like like you're like looking around, like talking to her, like just like it sounded like babble, like no actual words probably, and then switch to like a passerby, and you look like you're holding hands with nothing, like type of thing, and like it keeps fading in and out of like seeing her, not seeing her, and it's like some form of energy like is like being like taken from you into her at points. And she feels like maybe she's like some form of demon like leeching off you. And she's like, danger, Will Robinson, danger. And so...
Interesting.
So did you cause the problem in the first place? Did you cause the fist fight?
Maybe.
Oh, sorry, I missed the fist fight part. Who did she get in a fist fight with?
We don't know. I just mentioned that there was a fist fight at a school play. But it doesn't say who was fighting who, whether it was I observed it among other people, or if I or Eileen were directly involved in it.
I don't know. She definitely, like, if she can she see Eileen? Can other people see her?
I would assume that the answer is no, but I think that your character could, if only because you have Cassandra's tears.
Okay. And I figure, like, very true to Cassandra's tears, maybe you're trying to tell me something that's true, and I'm refusing to believe it, because...
Yeah.
Whether it's because you're getting part of it wrong, or because I just don't want to accept that about her.
So I would have probably run up to you during the play and like see you, like you two might have been like sitting together during it, I assume, or something. Mm-hmm. Like, and there's just like an empty seat. Like I see her like kind of like how I saw earlier. Like she kind of fades in and out. Like I can always see her, but like some parts there's less of her than others. So I'd have probably like walked up to you, and you've never seen me before in your life. I'm just like, excuse me. I need to. She like looks over at where and just like, I need to talk to you. Please, ma'am, please, miss. And then like if you get up and talk to her, she's like,
and then like I take the toddler I take the 4-year-old off of my lap and I put it on the empty chair, and then you see ghostly arms like wrap around her,
and she's just like,
or him, because it's
fidgeting, like, and like trying not to like, she's trying very, very hard to be polite and like get you away from it. And she's like, that thing is, it's a farce. Don't trust it. It's a demon, or just please, ma'am, please. I don't, please. And she's like trying to like, she keeps looking back at it.
Mm-hmm.
And she can never say like what it is or like address it. And she keeps like looking at your hand. Like back at it and just like,
Is there a reason that you're looking at my hand specifically? Like, is there like something about it? Like,
it's probably like, it might be like either like doing that like energy thing, like connecting you to her, or maybe it's like fading in and out a bit like she is. Like to me, like it probably isn't, but like it's like what's connecting. Like I'm probably seeing just like something to make sure, like it's probably like third eye type of thing, and I don't know that's what it is. And I'm just like, I can see that like tether between you two.
Okay.
And she just keeps looking back at it.
Interesting. Okay. I'm liking this.
So
she's just like, she just tries her fucking hardest to make you believe that thing is not real.
Huh. What was someone saying?
I can wait until this thing is done. I wasn't sure how long the thing is.
Oh,
it depends. I think it's just like that's the like if a fist fight breaks out due to her trying to do this, and like someone gets pissed off because we're talking in the middle of play, it's fine.
You two are totally able to intercede on this little story they're having and give ideas.
I mean, if they're like in a soccer game, I would have no
a school play.
Yeah, I would have no interest or reason for my character to be in a school play.
Oh no, it's not about you being there. I mean, take the role as GM.
No, like an idea
suggest
or
ideas.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like this this little mousy girl, like maybe like 5'6", like, but she's like dainty, like just super like little, like she probably doesn't eat well, like decent, like kind of like streety clothes, completely
I was
out of
hoping you're going to be in
fashion.
like ancient Puritan clothes still.
No, it's been about 2 years. Those got ditched a while back, but it's like completely out of fashion, mix matched. She looks out of place regardless. Like, just very like modest, like just full like shirt, like warm jacket, all of it. Probably gloves too, even if it's not really cold. Just, so yeah, it's just this girl, this like maybe like 18-year-old maybe trying to convince you that your girlfriend isn't real.
So crazy. I love it. Oh my gosh.
I could see that getting violent.
Yeah, like I feel like I try to tell you to leave, and you're
nope.
You're really insistent, and like I go to get like a security guard or something.
At some point, do I have another fit, by the way, during this?
Oh yeah, sure.
You like speaking tongues?
Oh, perfect.
Like I'm like grabbing you and like starting to like stutter and like shaking you like as you're like trying to go get a guard, and then my eyes roll in the back of my head and I start convulsing and having a vision of whatever, like of either you two again doing like, I don't know, is she dangerous? Like you're like GM, like would that be a thing I'd see? Or
I mean, it's hard to imagine in modern society that someone who has a seizure would be treated like they assaulted somebody. But this isn't a normal seizure. You might be screaming things from your visions at this point.
Yeah. I was referring to is would I've never mind.
Eileen dangerous. You mean?
Is Eileen dangerous?
Yeah, it's like it depends on like what.
Oh, is Eileen dangerous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you mean?
Is Eileen a threat to Kels's character? Janet, I think. Is that right?
I don't think so.
Okay. So
there's no way for your character to know that.
It's the vision. Like, what would be like the feeling she would get later on?
Oh, the vision. Like, I mean, the vision would definitely.
Like, what would it
be obscured?
Yeah, it's just like
You could totally make that misunderstanding. Like you said, you saw Aileen feeding off of her. That's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really be
symbiotic.
Yeah,
it could be symbiotic and not dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually dangerous, but I definitely could see you misunderstanding.
Being a mother, what I would ask is, instead of like a fist fight, would it have gone from this chick is weird, trying to convince me she's not real, to oh my god, she's having a seizure, I should help her, and to like where like I obviously have no identification on me, and like what would you have like taken me to a hospital? Would you have taken me home and like put like or what?
Yeah, okay. So maybe the fist fight comes with I realize that you're having a seizure, and then like the guard comes up to kick you out because you're some homeless chick that doesn't go to this school.
Yeah.
And I deck the guard.
It makes perfect sense. Especially because in the dark, it's in the dark and there's lots of kids, and all the security guard cares about is making this end.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care about her, and like, you're just like, this girl needs help.
I'm like, this girl needs help, and he's like, get her out of here. She smells like homeless. And I'm like, compassion.
Passion
Get
punch.
that tattooed across your like fingers.
Compunchin. Passion punch. Yeah.
Passion. Is that what you're saying?
Passion fruit. It's passion punch. It's passion punch.
Passion
punch.
Compulsion. All right.
But yeah. That is.
So aspects from that.
So
I feel like the compassion punch is like the defining of your character there.
Okay.
Well, yeah, totally. That's awesome. That's how we know each other. You're just like, and eventually, I think like during like the visions, I kind of pieced together that, like, I don't know whether you believe me ever that she's not real, but it's the entire thing is like, okay, well, maybe she's not like trying to kill you, and maybe she's not a or she's probably a demon, okay. But so far it's okay.
So I would like to say the next person that is part of this little story is gonna be our white court aspiring lawyer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I could possibly be a part of the story depending on what kind of dates your character goes on. Like, I would probably...
Is that how it's supposed to work? You're supposed to have all the characters in one story?
Two guest stars. Okay. In each story. That's how it's supposed to work.
Do they have to be PCs or can they be... Just curious.
That's fine. It's usually not how I do it, but that's okay. We can do it that way.
Well, if you want to do it another way, we can just call that good enough and we'll go onto a different one.
I feel like the story...
Oh, God.
The story is good.
So, my question would be, what aspect did you fucking get from that?
Did I get from that? I wrote down compassion punch.
Oh, nice.
That's gotta be her defining character
feature.
Anger,
like action given through that, like, yeah, no, totally.
And it sounds like the other aspect would be something to do with overreacting when you saw something threatening her.
I mean, is that my story? Or I thought that was hers.
Oh, you get an aspect from it.
So it's both. So you're going to put the information we just went over in your guest starring whose paths have you crossed box for under phase 4.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calling this spelling and thing,
but it seems like your aspect would probably be either something about you're willing to go out of your way to help people, or maybe you're curious about investigating modern sexuality.
I think it would be more like mistrust anything magical that you don't understand.
Sounds perfect.
Like, mistrust anything new that's magical.
That sounds perfect.
Type of thing.
Sounds perfect.
Okay, so this is going to be super ironic, but it's called mistrust what you don't understand.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
That makes sense in a very roundabout way.
She's a product of her time.
You would think you would not have that since that would have killed you in your time, but now it makes sense to you.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, she's probably like a demon or something. I know I'm not a demon, but she's all spooky and stuff. I'm not spooky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. I feel like just adding more characters to this would
just complicate it.
Yeah, just complicate it.
Yeah.
So let's have the other two players, Sacrilege and what? Okay. Why don't you guys come up with a story?
Okay, so I probably have a story like after I get to San Francisco of like finding a home and finding a place. So I kind of imagine myself like of all the things or the people that would like offer me a home with as much freedom as I can get, I would see that being like the hack of like I use were animals very loosely because it's not just were animals, but that's kind of like how they're known or how we're referring
to
them.
People.
Yeah, were people. Like I would be part of their clan. I'd be like a low-level enforcer at this point because they would give me a place to stay, and that's better than anything else I have. And I'm used to like a power structure, and that way somebody tells me to do something, but it's more freedom than I ever had before.
Okay.
So imagine do this or like get whipped 1,000,000 times.
Yeah, it's like all you have to do is go collect this protection money from the local business or something, or go take care of somebody in the Ware family that's not behaving. So I imagine like I become a low level enforcer and I'm out doing a job for somebody in the were animals to kind of secure my place among them and make sure I have a place to live.
Okay. Your character was...
I named him Axel.
Axel. Okay. There's a lot of noise going on back there. Something like...
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to mute. It's... my fiance is making herself some dinner, so...
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. Okay.
And I like my nickname or gang name. I'm going to call myself the Fencer, since I'm known to be working with like an actual foil from foil fencing.
Sure.
How did you get it? If you, like, or do you want to save that? Just curious. Like, if
what's
you
your
know
question?
yet. How did you get the foil? Like, why do you have it?
I don't have a good answer for that yet. I got it along the way, or I took it with me from the cult, but I don't have a good answer.
I was just curious if you already had an answer for that or not yet. That's all.
I don't have a good answer for that yet.
Yep.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
But I picked that up along the way, and it's like the focus I have to let me actually use my wizarding powers.
Okay. So you are looking for a home with a gang.
And I'm like, yeah, basically. Because, like, I need some kind of structure, but I also don't want to go back to being, like, completely submissive.
So do you mug? Do you mug the White Court Virgin? What's his character?
That'd be interesting. Like,
yeah, you guys try to mug Thomas?
That would be interesting.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, like, maybe this is part of the, or I guess this is afterwards, but maybe I'm, like, going through some sort of shady part of town or whatever. Like, and he just sort of, and obviously I look like one of those rich kids who doesn't belong in a shady part of town or whatever, and, like, yeah, I could see my character getting mugged.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like, the rich, mopey kid's like, he looks like an easy target.
Yeah. Like freaking tags from Hot Topic or Gap or something. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense to me.
Do you put up a fight, or you just, like, hand over your money?
So I can't think of a way my character... Would my character, because it has insight, emotion on touch, know that he's able to do it? Would be like an instinctual thing? How does that work?
Yeah, that'd be very instinctual. You would probably not even consciously be aware of it if this was early on.
So, is it possible, like, I could have incited shame in him by like, accidentally? Just,
definitely.
Touching him?
Definitely.
So you, like, give me your money, but I feel ashamed of it by the time it's all over because you touched me along the way?
Like, even, like, at the beginning, like, as soon as he gives you your money, you feel ashamed for taking it.
Which you might have done already, but, like, you actually give a shit this time.
Yeah, now it's like, he's a rich kid, he can afford it. Now, why am I taking this kid's money?
God damn it.
I have to be doing something better with my life.
And now all I can think of is ammunition going, shame. Shame.
Exactly.
Is that an emote for her?
Yep.
Alright. So you just suddenly feel ashamed for taking this guy's money. It doesn't actually require your character to do anything. You mind if I make a roll?
Me? Who?
Wes.
I mean, like, what kind of roll?
I'm going to see... Resist? So the way that this works is that it's a kind of mental attack.
Okay.
I want to see how much damage it will do in this case.
Okay, what do I roll exactly?
You don't roll anything.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so you just take an average number of damage.
So, like,
your character just feels ashamed.
Okay.
And,
like, emotionally drained by the time this is all over.
It isn't actually enough to force you to do anything.
Okay.
It doesn't force you to do anything, but, like, for flavor, like, probably felt it. But it doesn't, like, not make you not mug him or anything.
Well,
okay.
In game terms, if you were to mug him again, then you might pass unconscious or have to take a consequence of some kind to represent your mental state has been affected in a very real way.
Okay, so like after I mug him, I realize for some reason I'm emotionally drained from mugging him, and I'm very confused about that. So I probably like leave very hurriedly after that. So I'm bewildered and emotionally drained at the same time, and to me that makes like no sense. Because at this point in life, I'm very good at shutting down like all my emotions and just doing whatever I need to do.
Okay.
You know, sacrifice an orphan to a dragon or two.
Yeah, I mean, whatever I have to do, I can emotionally justify it given if I have to.
Alright. So I guess that's the whole story, like nothing happens, you just take the money and run?
I mean, long as if he like physically tries to resist, it may get interesting, but if he's just gonna make me feel ashamed and hand over his money, yeah, take the money and run.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody else could jump in on this story.
Question.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, if this is your first meeting between you two, how are you guys going to get along later? Like, when we actually start, like, having adventures together, so to speak.
I mean, I'm like ashamed of this event. So, like, in a future meeting, it could be like, I'm sorry I did that to you. And it's like...
Yeah.
I guess the question is has that future meeting happened? Like, or is like episode 1 going to be the first time you guys have seen each other since the mugging?
It's that, and there's also like a little like political negotiating after that, because like the White Court vampires figured out that somebody in the pack or whatever like got mugged of them, and probably got back to me that I wasn't supposed to do that, and I like probably made reparations for that in some way.
So maybe you justify it that way. Maybe you like instinctively went like, oh, so maybe that's why I felt shamed, because like I maybe instinctually knew I wasn't supposed to do that.
So yeah, something like that.
I feel like whatever aspect you take is the one that's going to enable you to act well with his character in the future.
Okay, so I mean,
like, what about the circumstance makes your character like willing to do what it takes that he's willing to work with you in the future?
So it'd be like fear of emotional manipulation or something kind of like that. So I want to stay on good terms with him because I don't want to ever have this happen to me again.
Okay.
Did you know you were emotionally manipulated though?
Probably after the fact. Probably when I got back and learned about it.
Okay.
He's saying that somebody came to him and told him what he did was he's going to have to make up for it, and why.
Yeah, because like eventually that'll trickle down. Like I robbed a White Court vampire or a White Court, like a White Court vampire to be, and it's like, and I have to make up for that. And the aspect of that I probably get is like a fear of White Court vampires, maybe.
That makes sense.
Or maybe you owe a favor.
Something like that. I owe his character a favor.
I don't think it'd even be him.
His
I think
character,
it would be
like his order.
Yeah, like
his family, his
I
parents.
You owe the White Court a favor.
Definitely. All right, write that down.
So
owe the White Court a favor.
Is that an aspect?
Yes, that's an aspect.
Okay.
Favor to the White Court.
Owes a favor to the White Court. And how does that affect Thomas?
Yeah, so I was thinking, and I also get emotional vampire, which lets me feed off the emotion.
Right.
So maybe it's just like, wow, I actually feel invigorated by getting mugged.
Like, this went well for me somehow.
Yeah.
So you keep going back to that part of town trying to get that
sort
high
of like...
again?
Man,
Yeah,
I really
exactly.
enjoyed
Wow, you become addicted to...
Just maybe like a victim complex type of thing.
Wow. All right. Addicted to
Maybe
victim.
that's what you think it is. It's like maybe
addicted
sort
to
of like
being a victim. Wow.
So,
that is a
your family,
aspect.
like your family, runs like the
enjoys
BDSM
being
stuff.
the
By
victim,
the way,
just right there.
Enjoy being the victim. Yep.
Okay.
So again, this is all making sense for context. I mean,
wow. That is going to be a weird aspect, but I like it. All right.
I mean, I could see that being used for fate points a good deal.
Sure.
By the way, you said, do I actually gain a fate point for like drowning? By the way, you said on fire.
I'm
but
fire,
drowning,
man.
drowning
no,
doesn't.
Drowning doesn't
Oh,
count.
see, I've actually almost drowned, and I've also been burned. I personally would prefer fire, just so you know. I've actually almost drowned twice though.
Maybe when it's your chance to be the star of your story, you can tell us about how you got set on fire in the modern day.
Oh, in the modern day. Actually, I could work with that. So, my character has been essentially hated her entire life for existing. And been told she was possessed and a demon and wife to Satan and all that stuff.
Okay.
And except all she kind of really wanted to do was just help people. That's what she wanted to do. She her mother was probably the the equivalent of a doctor's aide back then,
a nurse?
For the church, I assume. Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's what they called them because they were essentially a sister, right?
Oh, was she actually part of the church? Was she a nun?
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
Which is
we'll just call her a nun.
But whatever.
No, there's different. There are plenty of sects where the nuns are allowed to have kids.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Anyways, so I feel back to Cassandra's tears again because it's a driving kind of thing for her. Actually, not even. Let's go without it. At one point during in my time in San Francisco, how long ago was the fight between White Council and Red Vampires, by the way? How long ago was that?
I would say 3 years.
Okay.
So it's been the city's stabilized from that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious, if it was within the last year or 2, I was gonna say something, but let's say there was different circumstances. There was a fire of some sort that just kind of was destroying this building, and I heard either one of your characters in it, if you want to be there, or I heard crying from a kid, just super young, and she ran in there to help him or her or whoever.
I'm gonna say that the Valkyries set the fire.
Okay. So she went in there to save some people, and for once her non Cassandra's tears magic helped, to where she was able to slow down the fire, like where she ran through, to the point where she was able to navigate and save at least most of the people in there.
Okay, I think we need to interrupt the story somehow and make it more complicated with another character.
Okay.
You already have one with Kelsa?
Yeah, so it needs to be me or Thomas.
Right.
Yeah, so, and I already have my guest thing. So.
No, you need more than one guest thing.
Yeah, you get two guest things.
No, I mean my guest in another story thing.
Yes, you get to be a guest in multiple stories.
Oh, yeah. I don't feel like you'd be in like a low part of town though, which is where
maybe so he's trying to get mugged again.
I mean, if this is like a low, like a in the hood kind of thing, like of course, that would be.
Why not?
This is kind of like an abandoned building, probably. Like this is where I first moved to San Francisco, and I found some place that's abandoned and it caught fire while I was
nice.
You might have been in there, like if you want to be, and I could have been like
asleep in this abandoned building.
So typically, she's really meek for the most part due to like a lifetime of being abused. But like for once, this is like one of the few times where she just didn't stop. Like she didn't stutter, she didn't like pause or hesitate. She just ran through and saved as many people as possible, because it was like a part of town where like the fire department wasn't going to get there within the next like hour. So like of course people died, like that's a thing, and I don't know what necessarily like happened when she found you or what you were doing, but she did her best to get you out safely.
I mean, like, would you just like order me out of the building?
Like, she would grab you by the arm and just start like dragging you.
Yeah, probably at that point, I would just like, somebody's in command. I don't know what's going on, so I better just follow orders. I mean, it's probably just like impulse at that point.
Okay. So what probably ended up happening though is that it was either like it was probably a toss up between saving you or like someone else, and for some reason like it wasn't a full on like premonition or anything, but like I just had like a feeling where it was like I just grabbed you.
Yeah, you see, like I have like scraps of leather. It's like it used to be maybe a leather coat, but there's like holes in it from like maybe it's been like burned away. It's like it's just like old, and you see this like thin piece of metal with a handle on my back that like bewilders you, because like why would you have that in an abandoned building? Why would somebody carrying that? It just makes no sense.
But I'm trying to think of the aspect I'd get from that.
Mm-hmm.
From
selfless kind of thing.
Yeah, like regardless of how many times you get kicked, I still want to help people.
Yeah, I mean, eternally optimistic kind of thing. Others are worth more than you, maybe?
Hero when it counts?
I wouldn't necessarily like... I don't know.
So maybe what specifically motivated her to follow that particular vision and to or to go into the fire? Like you were saying that you were abandoning the tears of Cassandra for this; it wasn't really involved. So
I was trying to
past this fire, and you didn't get a vision of it. Like what motivated you to go in there?
I feel like it was that instinct to where like there's probably a fire during like the witch trials that's blamed on her, I would think, and she like it probably wasn't like at the forefront of her mind when she did it, but it was probably like a desperate way of her trying to prove that she wasn't what they thought she was.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
You're trying. Yes. How do I phrase that though?
Like she wasn't a demon or a monster. She was a person that wanted to help people.
So you were more than what people think of you.
You're trying to prove it to yourself, right?
So like the aspect is like you're not a monster, something like that.
I'm not a monster. Is actually really accurate.
That's perfect. All right. So we have two stories.
I need to figure out an aspect for that real quick. So
what's your character's name?
Mine's Axel.
How do you spell that?
Axel. So, like, I guess the aspect of that, I follow those with authority, kind of thing.
Don't you kind of already have that, though?
No, I have my spirit is broken, which is different in my mind.
Okay.
I talked about it in my backstory, but I didn't actually have an aspect of that.
All right. Who has done a story as the primary character so far?
I think Thomas still needs his own story.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I have not yet been a guest star in a story.
It seems like that's the combo we should go with then.
Okay.
So how does the human infected with white coat vampirism meet the head's witch soccer man?
Did you need a potion?
I still have one guest star left, by the way. Like, open.
You all will have at least one left.
Okay.
You're right, yeah. So I still need to guest star in with... Okay.
We'll figure it out.
If you look at roll 20, I am making a thing.
So Thomas, you're a white court vampire. At this point in time, you're still in college? Is that what we've determined?
Yeah.
I mean, what power level are we going for? Have we actually determined that?
No.
Feet in the water, I was thinking. I was hoping, at least.
I'm going to probably give you 7.
I mean,
refresh.
At the my character like flung herself through time. Whether that was like desperate measure or whether she like is powerful is up to you guys. I guess. That's all up to you guys.
It doesn't need to be powerful, it just takes a long time.
She was drowning, so it was kind of instinctual, I thought. Or, like, desperate. Like, if I was to, I would have taken, like, a death curse to do it in real.
Right. Maybe that's what happened. Or maybe
I would
you
like
had
to
help.
not start with a death curse.
No, you only get one per character.
Yeah, so
yes,
like to not
start with it's perfect. You can still start with one, it's fine.
Anyway,
limiting my options from the very beginning.
Seems legit.
Maybe you will take a thing that lets you get 2 death curses somehow. We'll see. Anyway, don't worry about that.
Anyway.
So yeah, like this is your story. So, think of what you want your character to be, and I can find a way to put myself there. I'm pretty good at that.
Okay.
So things you know about my character, if it helps, or no, you were saying something. I'll stop interrupting.
No, it would be helpful. Tell me what you were gonna say.
Okay, so she has 2 children. They go to public school. Actually, they probably go to a private school. She has a decent amount of money. She's kind of well-to-do, which is surprising since her day job is working a small apothecary in the middle of San Francisco. She's like right on that border between a tourist location and a city-goer location, where like she has like the front section, which is where the tourists come in and like ooh and ah and never buy anything. And then she has the real section where the local occult people who are minor talents or so forth actually come in and buy components or actual potions. She'll tend to have stuff pre-brewed, or you can come to her for a special order.
I have a very quick question. Due to ours, would you have allowed her to like work with you there and like try to pay you back for not like sending her off to a loony bin type thing?
Possibly. Okay. I was thinking that probably after your seizure, like I wound up like taking you home, and you probably were like, I don't want to live with weird spirit thing that's eating your energy. I'm out. But like,
well, see, here's the thing.
like
the second vision might have changed that. Like, it might have kind of brought more context. So, depends.
Also, there's the option, like, you need material components for your spells.
Yeah.
Here's somebody who can see the future that could be going together pretty well. Maybe, like, maybe you don't work with her for, like, directly in the lab, but, like, you send her...
I mean, like, she would have, like, sat at the front of the shop if she had to.
Yeah, she to be like a shop girl.
Okay, shop girl.
Give me some more time, like, with the kids and stuff. But yeah, for interacting with Thomas, I mean, like, if you need a potion, if you need some kind of mystic help, like, if you need if you would have had a reason to come by a private school, if you think your parents could have been trying, could have found a threat in me, and I'm the person that you're supposed to have the hit out on, or I don't know, or something completely unrelated, and I just happened to be there at the time.
Yeah. So this is like right at the beginning of the game, right? Like just a few months before.
Whenever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
it's an amount of time before the beginning of the game, and it could be significantly before. You can be like, this was before you and Durian got together, and this took place.
He could be one of your bad relationships. That's she feeds on the chain.
Oh,
heck,
yeah.
you could have known each other as kids.
Ooh. What was that?
You could have known each other as kids.
That too.
Yeah, totally. I
mean, this is not within the last.
You could have
10 minutes.
She could have confided you in like the guy she found and everything.
I mean, if
it was just an example. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, we could have gone to high school together. Back in Davis. You could have been going to school. No, because I was.
I feel like Kelsa's character is probably 6 years older.
Oh, yeah, my character is like 26.
Yeah, his is 25, so you're in the same ballpark.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there you go.
I didn't realize he made himself so much older.
I don't remember.
Hey, either 22 or 25. I think 22 because I'm like beginning.
Well, let's say like
same ballpark-ish.
You're a freshman in high school and she's a senior. How does that work out?
That'd be interesting.
So like I guess we could go the high school angle. That's fine. Sure. So
if you got another more interesting idea, please.
I kind of wanted, like, the first story or whatever to be my character, like, saying, oh, wait, I can accidentally cause shame in people. I've seen it happen, like, at least 4 times.
Oh, sure, do that.
That's a perfect high school story. Come on. Think about that.
It's the first time okay, let's do the first time I ever caused the shame, did the shame incitement or whatever with touch.
Right.
Okay.
So, like, maybe, my character obviously is kind of meek. Maybe, like, at this point, a typical high school nerd, and being bullied by typical high school cliquey people. Just like, and I don't know if you want to be one of them or if you want to be someone to help me out, but like, I feel like my character is just being surrounded by these people who are just like, I don't know how bullies sound, I'm sorry, but like, making fun of me, teasing me like high school people do, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, is this before you had your one true love?
Yeah, I think this is before I even met them.
Okay. So I figure I'd probably be someone that would not stand like I would not want to watch someone else get bullied. But I don't know if I necessarily would have known your character if you're like the standard nerd, because my character is like the standard hick, like not exactly standard, like a cross between like a hick and a hippie, especially in high school, like especially in high school. She's like wears like the fucking overalls and gets yelled at because she's wearing like overalls and like a wife beater, and that's deemed inappropriate school attire, and she's
maybe
like
not,
in the 4-H club.
Yeah.
Shit like
maybe
that.
not nerd now that I think about it, more like cross between emo and goth, just that kind of...
You're a vampire.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, it's just like, maybe you're walking down the hall while I'm just cowering, being surrounded by, like, the popular clique or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, so when that happens, you're like getting assaulted, like are they like, is it the Mean Girls popular kids or like the jocks popular kids?
Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, they're just teasing me and being like, why don't you just kill yourself, that kind of thing.
As they fucking do. I hate those bitches. So yeah. I feel like your kind of emo goth would not be like the normal person that Janice would like kind of look out for, but also the preppy Mean Girls clique would also cause her trouble. And when they're like, fucking hippie, and she's like, yup, and that just enraged them more,
Mm-hmm.
So basically I think yeah, so you're getting all that trouble, and I think, and I like this, and tell me if you do as well, that I move in to kind of save you, kind of like steer you out from under their like gaze or whatever, and I like put my arm around your shoulder and lead you off. And
and then I like
you incite shame in me for helping you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was thinking along those lines too. It's awesome. Like, yes. I don't even notice I'm doing it. It's just a response to feeling shame myself or whatever.
Okay.
You should learn to put yourself first from then on after getting that shame feeling from that.
In a certain way. We'll see how I feel about that.
And so I guess my aspect is like, I don't know, what would I get from that? Like,
it feels good to be rescued, something like that.
Yeah.
It's good to have somebody that cares about you and isn't trying to manipulate you all the time.
Yeah, like, people can actually care.
Yeah.
Let's see here. You have an aspect about love. Oh, I see what you did. Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Can we take like a 5-minute break? I kind of have to deal with something.
Yep, we have to anyhow because we've reached our 4-hour limit.
Oh, yay.
Okay.
So, I'm going to end the call. We'll just take our break, and we can actually stop here even.
Because I kind of want to finish out character creation.
Sounds fine with me. All right, we'll keep going.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Okay.
5 minutes. So actually, I also need to stop this because guess what crashed? OBS also crashed. So I'm gonna reboot my computer. I hate it when this happens because it screws up the VOD. But we'll be back soon.